Okay, so 2, 3, 4, 6. Okay, so I think that's actually everybody we're expecting. So this is good. Okay, so I'll call the meeting to order at 7:31. And our first thing is to review and approve the minutes for April 12th. Did everybody get a chance to look at them? Hey, Danielle.
Okay.
So, approving the minutes, they were emailed out this morning. Yes, I think.
I didn't get them.
And you know
I
what?
didn't get them.
You're right. She did just send the agenda. Okay. Well, then we'll table that and I'll get them sent out for the next meeting. So we will move on to back. I'm sorry, two things at once. Trying to run two things at once. My computer is crashing on me, or my internet. Come back. Okay. Anyway, I guess I'm pretty sure the next thing on the agenda would be if anybody has anything to add to the agenda. Seeing no waving hands or comments, I'll assume that means nobody needs to add anything to the agenda. Yeah,
I'm
Mike.
sorry. Heather, did you send out the agenda today?
It was sent by Maria Patola, and I'm trying actually to get my phone to give me back the messages for today.
I think I might not have received them.
Okay. I got sent them at 9:02. It says it went to Alex. Oh. Oops, she's got the old list because she's got Frank on it, not you. And it doesn't look like Shannon got it either. Okay, so we'll have to get Maria an updated member list, Dave.
But it
Yeah,
says
let
it
me,
went to me?
It says it went to you.
Huh. Okay.
Hold on, let me see what she's got for an email address here. It went to Alex Cushing at what? Nope, wait. That's not, hold on. Yeah. Mine says it went to Alex Cushing at Ymail, but I don't know. Okay, now according to this, it went to Alex, Dave, Christine, Danielle, Elizabeth, Frank, Heather, Marina, Marlene. Hands up for anybody that did get it. Okay. Okay. We got Elizabeth and Danielle got it. So anyway, we'll have to look at the list or get Maria to look at the list and see why it's not matching up with what Mary has been sending out. I know that several of them have been going around. All right. Well, okay, so I will forward everybody this email with the agenda.
Heather, if you want, I can pull it up on my screen too, however you want to do
Okay.
it.
Yeah, that might be easier for everybody. It'll all be down the side.
You guys see that?
Yep.
I can. Yep. Okay. So, okay. So, I apologize. We have our former institutional memory and town staff has retired as of May 1st. So we're going to have to work through the new bring the new person up to speed. Okay, so we had no additional agenda items from anybody. I can only see half of you now, so waving is not going to do any good. So we'll move on to item number 4, which is the update on applications for 856 Boston Post Road. to my knowledge, what I understand has happened is that the Inland Wetlands Agency spent another 2.5 hours talking about the application at their last meeting and is now scheduled a special hearing for the 15th.
17th, the Monday,
17th.
next Monday, yeah.
Oh, okay, that's right. So a week from today. So where they hope desperately to finish hearing information on it and be able to move on to discussion. Is there anything else, Dave, that we need to update about that?
No, so depending on what the Inland Wetlands Agency does, the Planning and Zoning Commission is scheduled to have a hearing on it on the 20th.
Okay. Yeah, so I think that I am sending the Inland Wetlands Agency the letter that we discussed the last time, talking about the blasting issues and the groundwater issues and the runoff issues. And then I'm going to send a slightly amended version of that includes the wildlife corridor issues and the loss of tree habitat, trees to the Planning and Zoning Commission. So are we going to assume, Dave, that the Planning and Zoning one will either be as long or not as long, considering?
Well, I think it'll probably be as long, just because it's the first time the applicants got to present the entire project to the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Okay.
And despite requests to keep it brief, they don't. Yeah. So I think the next wetlands meeting will be hopefully a little bit quicker, depending on the extent of their deliberations, obviously. But planning and zoning, I'd expect a long haul on that one.
Okay. Okay. So, well, we'll try and keep our comments to planning and zoning brief to not extend the process any further. Okay. So I don't think there's anything else we need to discuss about that. Although if anybody wants to watch the wetlands meeting on a week from today, it's a very educational process. And then you'll know what they are living through, which is why I'm very grateful that we're an advisory board. I'll just say that.
So Heather, if you're still planning to, if you would like any feedback for the draft.
Oh, yes. Yes, I have
Please
a
don't hesitate.
yeah.
'Cause
I have a
feel
half
like
finished draft and I will get it out.
I haven't done anything really, so I'm happy to help out.
Okay, yeah, I have a half finished draft and I will get it out to all of you in the next day or two for feedback. I might even send it out just if anybody's got better text than I do, yeah, we'll let you fill in some of it. But yes, I will get that out in the next day or two to all of you. Okay, I'm going to move on to the review and discussion of presentations by the Quinnipiac Law students, also known as the Alexes. Did anybody go on to see the planning and zoning meeting last Thursday? David sent out a link. It was educational, and they were talking about, one of them was talking about how to put together natural resource inventories, and the other was talking about opportunities for tidal marsh protection. I thought they both did really good jobs. They were, for me, were preaching to the converted. Dave, what did you think? I mean,
yeah, no, I thought they did a good job. I guess my takeaways for the natural resource inventory were really that we should try to use the plan of conservation and development update process to engage people about the natural resource inventory, and then really try to come up with some kind of final document, which again is a living document in a lot of ways, after the POCD update. So I thought that was helpful advice, just because it gives, I think, a realistic timeline, because the POCD update process could take 18 months to 2 years from when it starts, and it hasn't started yet. So
right.
You're really looking at 3 to 4 years out before a natural resource inventory is adopted. So I thought that was helpful feedback. And then I just think in terms of the tidal marsh, the question was accounting for sea level rise, can we protect the tidal marsh where we anticipate it to be in the future, 20, 30 years from now? And the answer is yes, we can. We can come up with critical resource overlay zones that would allow us to require either additional setbacks or buffer areas. So yeah, probably not necessarily entirely new information, but it helped, or I'd say for the commission especially, to hear it from somebody else that that is a real possibility for us. So they seemed interested in actually revisiting that conversation and considering something like that.
Yeah, I thought that the professor's comment in response to one of the commission's members' questions about whether they had the authority to do it was beautiful. It's that we had science, and that allowed them to use it in their planning capacity. And I think that I'm hoping that that really did work. I thought they took that well, and I think that yeah, the science is definitely there. So,
Yeah, and then in the agenda link I sent to everybody, there is, you can find a link to the memorandums that both those students wrote, and the memorandums themselves are useful to look through as well.
right.
So if someone has any trouble finding that, let me know and I can send it back out.
Yeah, it took me a few tries to actually get, and again, I don't know if it was my computer or just me being silly, but I had a hard time linking to it the first couple of tries, but I eventually got them. And they did a good job writing this stuff up. It is, you can tell they're in law school though. I came in late on the conversation. I'm just going to ask this because I was very curious after they said that they were all leaving. They were both leaving from this presentation and both headed for Vermont Law School. Did they indicate that they had done that other summers, or was this their first time up there? Because
they did not indicate. I'm not sure. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if they're Vermont law students, kind of with a stint at Quinnipiac, or vice versa. I don't know. Do you know?
Right.
How that works?
It might be a joint program. I was very interested because my husband is a Vermont Law School alum, and the environmental law program is very good. So,
Oh, yes, it's known for that environmental law program.
Yeah, so I'm hoping that they are going to. They sounded like they were coming back to Connecticut when they were done with law school. So that would be.
No, it did sound like that. Yeah, and then attorney Marjorie Shansky, who's the one I linked up with to do this, is interested in doing it again, you know, with their next round of students. So hopefully, this one was it was a quick turnaround in terms of when they first started, and then they were closing out the semester. So they needed to do one presentation. Otherwise, I would have had them come to this meeting. But hopefully next time we'll get a little bit, a little more information in advance, and we can kind of steer it again in terms of topics that the Conservation Commission might be interested in, or Coastal Resiliency Commission. So
yeah, absolutely. I think that now that the contact's been made, that's something we can definitely take advantage of in the future for all of the commissions.
yeah,
Because I think Marjorie is the one that writes the column for the Kakiwick newsletter.
oh, she does.
used to.
Okay, I don't
Yeah.
think I was aware of that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure she is. So she's environmental law is definitely the area she's interested in.
Yes.
Okay, so basically what they said was the particularly for the NRI, they were in the idea of linking it with the development of the plan of conservation and development was important. And he talked about a lot of the things that we have done in the past in our many attempts at starting a natural resource inventory. But he did give us a couple of other towns to use as potential models. And he was talking about using all the information that's at CT Eco, and so I sort of feel like we keep getting 75% of the way there. So hopefully, with linking it into the plan of conservation and development, we can push it a lot farther. Dave, do you think it would be appropriate, because you did say, or somebody said at the end of those presentations that it was something that the Planning and Zoning Commission wanted to come back to at a planning meeting in a month or two. Do you think it would be appropriate for me to bring in a summary of what we have done to date?
For the natural resource inventory?
For the natural resource inventory, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think that might be appropriate just to give them information. You know, their follow-up was more geared towards the tidal wetland protection, just because that's something they can maybe do through a zoning regulation.
Yeah,
But it could be helpful just to give them an update on kind of where you are with it.
right. Just because like one of the questions was about whether there'd be a glossary or not. And since it was about the geology, it's like, okay, we actually have a geology intro written. So, and there's a map. So, you know, we could, there, if we just show them some of the stuff that is underway, maybe they could start considering using some of that
Yeah,
information.
no, I think that's helpful for sure.
Okay. Okay. Well, this, and it will also give me incentive to actually pull the information back together, or to work with Shannon or Sophia, whoever wants to, on pulling it together. Because it's there
Yep,
on
happy to help with that.
Okay, it's there on the Gmail, or there on the Google Drive. So we should do that. Okay, I'll plan on that. Then the next item is discussing the documents on Madison's recertification review, and it's the so I was I had in the last agenda, I had the long, really drawn out list. So I decided that for this meeting, I was going to combine what are ongoing and upcoming projects with the whole sustainable CT thing, because I thought we've got several areas that we're working on quite actively. And then there's the whole overall coordination part. So Dave, I need to come in and have a meeting with you, and there's about how are we approaching the people that are outside of this list of things that I thought that the Conservation Commission absolutely should be. I guess that would be item I under here.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I'm happy to meet with you and whoever else to try to, I mean, because it's a little bit of a brainstorming exercise in terms of how we want to approach people. But
Right.
yeah, I'm happy to do that. I think it's probably is a good idea to have a meeting separate from this meeting, just so we can kind of think through it a little bit.
Okay, because when I looked this, so this is the list of the ones when I went through that I said management, watershed management and education. You know, we did the watershed signs after 2018. One, we have some stuff we can document through the towns. I think that actually pulling together a watershed inventory for the Neck River, which is completely within the boundaries of Madison, would be a fairly straightforward thing to do in the next 3 months. Okay, it's only 3 months, maybe. Okay, I keep thinking it's November and it's not. The dark sky education and regulation, we're actually also have a pretty good start on. The anti-idling campaign, I've emailed Sharon Gold. I haven't heard back from her yet. Invasive species, I have buy-in from my church to do the joint education thing in their parking lot on June 12th that I've mentioned to a bunch of people already. They're very excited about it. I'm thinking about focusing the education program around the avoid the creepers and eliminate the leapers. Those are the two kinds of plants that we don't want to have around. The pollinator pathways, I have put there was, everybody saw the picture. It was funny, after our last meeting, we had there was a picture right on the front of the newspaper of the pollinator pathway thing in front of the library. And I have put Kelly Brady in touch with Sarah Queso, our one of our interns, and they're both very excited about the idea of working full bore on that, to have Sarah concentrate on that this summer, since she's been working in the apiary out at Berkeley. So, and I have Fran Brady and I have been both obviously having the same sort of things. Since he wants to plant the 200 trees before the bicentennial of Madison, I was thinking that he would be a really good person to take on the starting either an urban forest management committee or turning it into a hybrid with the landscape committee, because Scott Erskine, who's been in charge of that commission, says they have one active member out of the 12 spots that are supposed to be on it. So there's a conversation that's going around with those. I think that could also be very easily dealt with before August. Dave, when I didn't think to ask, and I can't tell from the report that went in, did the tree inventory that we did along Route 1 get used for credit in the 2018 submission?
I don't believe so, actually, no.
Yeah, it's because that's, they went out and they did a really good, they did it. We've got it on we've got a GIS layer. And it was like, looked at the species and the health and the size. So it would be something that would be a nice starting point for I think it's actually one of the activities that's now in the new, I think the woodland is the woodlands part is actually a new section, I think. So I think we could actually get that. We've already done an inventory, at least on Route 1. So then the community outreach, engagement, and education section. That's it's sort of generic for sustainable, and it includes all of these things. But I'm wondering if there's some way we can help make Madison public access slightly more. I hesitate to use the word relevant, but more visible to the community, and then use some of the stuff on there. It would give us a place to put a lot of the sustainability stuff. Or the other thing I was thinking was having either one of our existing interns or maybe a fourth intern spend some really serious time on our website and making sure all our materials up, and then actively publicizing, because it's not something I know how to do. And it's another one where sort of, Shannon, I'm sort of looking at you. Somebody who's probably a heck of a lot more media literate than I am. So, and then I love their their acronym for the Save Money and Reduce Trash program, which is where the composting comes in, sustainable purchasing comes in, which was another area where I was considering whether Fran Brady would be useful or not, because he used to do sustainable purchasing. Dave, he sent me a link. Apparently he had written a draft sustainable purchasing policy for 2018. Do you have that, or?
I believe I have it.
Okay.
To be honest with you, there was at one point an initiative to actually hire a purchasing agent for the town, and that never happened. So I'm not quite sure where that would land in terms of whose responsibility it would be.
Okay, so I will forward his draft to Peggy Lyons, because she was talking to me about the need to write something like that up at one point, I think when we were at Green Up Cleanup. Anything jump out at anybody that I've missed on that list?
I guess just to follow up a little bit on the composting thing, Danielle and I talked a little bit a few weeks ago, and I reached out to Blue Earth Composting about trying to see if we could basically assist them in publicizing the curbside food scrap pickup. And they were enthusiastic about it. I had a call with them and kind of pitched the idea of doing it a little bit as a competition between Guilford and Madison to see who could get the most residents to sign up. And they were going to come up with a little bit of some materials, some marketing materials for me, and then also a tiered program in terms of price. So if we were able to get so many people signed up, the cost per, weekly pickup or every other week pickup would reduce. So they were supposed to get me something a week ago. They didn't get it. And then last week they said they'll have it to me soon. So I'm going to reach back out to them middle of this week to see if I can get something on that. But it is something that's in the works. And my idea would be to kind of pitch it to Peggy Lyons and Matt Hoey to see if they wanted to see if they could get a little mileage out of it. I know they're both running for re-election. Peggy's likely to have an opponent. I don't think Matt does. I don't think anybody's running in against him in Guilford. But at the same time, it'd probably be nice positive press for them. So once I got that information, I was going to circle back with Danielle and then approach Peggy about it.
Yeah, if they've got some publicity materials, I was just thinking about that, especially if they're saying every other week. I'd really like to see what, I'm assuming they're providing a container.
Yeah, they provide basically it's like a square 5-gallon bucket.
Okay.
And then they pick up that bucket from the curb.
Okay, and leave a fresh one.
Yep.
Okay. I was sort of picturing that and going, yeah, I know what my kitchen compost thing looks like if I don't empty it after 3 days. 2 weeks would get really scary. So the other thing I have been that's been going around in my brain is in terms of the whether it's there's a bunch of opportunities where they talk about educating municipal employees and or residents, and I'm looking at that in terms of invasive species management, for whether it's actual cleanup or whether it's managing, it's explaining, training the town staff as to why we don't like it when they go through the field of goldenrod in the middle of August, when in what's supposed to be a pollinator protected area. So Scott seemed, sort of amenable to things when I was talking to him at Green Up Cleanup Day. Do you think it's appropriate to send like a joint email to him and Austin, who's going to be taking over the position, about the opportunity to, maybe at least do a 1-hour thing with town staff, town land, municipal crews on what are the invasive species they should be looking for, and which ones they're supposed to cut and which ones they're not. My husband actually came to me the other day and said, the people that are clearing the sides of the roads under the power lines are cutting the mountain laurel and leaving the autumn olive behind. And I said, yeah, I had noticed that.
So yeah, I do think it would be appropriate to contact both of them, because obviously Austin, as of July 1st, is wholly in charge of Beach and Rec. So I'd contact both of them.
Okay, because Scott did mention he was staying around sort of on a consulting basis for about the next year, but
yeah, I think he's mainly going to be in charge of capital projects, and Austin's going to be more in charge of day-to-day stuff and programming.
okay.
And then eventually, I think Scott, I don't know, he might be staying on for another year or shy of another year, but I think that training would really end up being in Austin's wheelhouse after July.
Okay. Yeah, that's sort of what I was thinking, but I didn't want to sound like, first I didn't want to dump on him before it was even his job. And and I didn't want Scott to feel like I was cutting him out of the loop if he is going to be around for the next year. So, okay, I will send that to both of them, because I think that the other thing that I found out is that the town of Guilford actually has one of their sort of maintenance staff people that actually just goes around to the different town properties and kills invasives.
No, really?
Yeah, I've run into him a couple of times at Guilford East Meadows. And because he does it basically whenever he has a free shot, whenever he's got 2 or 3 hours free, he goes someplace and just cuts things. He's actually making quite a dent So I'm thinking that this would be a awesome thing that the landscape maintenance people could do when they don't have something that they need to do rather than just, I'm sorry, getting on the lawnmower. Because so those are the things I've been leaning towards. The other thing that has been going through my brain that I'd like people to either think about or give me some feedback on is the creative arts part. Because I actually saw Sustainable CT come up in the evening news where they were talking about West Hartford was going to get a grant to creatively paint the Jersey berries that they're using to protect the outdoor dining areas around Blueback Square. And I thought that was if they were, I assumed that's coming under the arts one. And then there's a part about it that's a youth program. And so I'm trying to figure out whether it would be appropriate to approach the arts barn or the school system for combining some of these things. Anybody got a feeling on that?
Could you tell us more about this program you heard about? I'm not really sure what that is.
It was literally 3 minutes on the evening news. It's like West Hartford is going to be more colorful because we're going to we're putting out a grant, putting in an application for a grant to put murals onto the Jersey barriers, and it will be done with the youth, and it will be funded by Sustainable CT. And I was like, first of all, why does West Hartford need a grant? But I was thinking that it's I don't know if we've got any, we have to do at least, has to be at least one thing in the town in each of the 13 categories. So
that's such a great idea. I think, I don't know, some art teachers might be interested in working on something with students.
Yeah.
Or, so I guess that's school system first to see if they'd want to have a conversation about it. The Madison Arts Barn, where else? Guilford has
I could just mention that the school system, their specials are limited right now for the kids, younger kids. So just an FYI, it might be a tough thing for them to do now due to COVID.
Right. So it might be more effective through the arts barn because they would be, they have their protocols down, but they have they would be getting the interested kids and they'd be working with a smaller population. But anyway, so I guess my question, Dave, is that since that's what's rattling around in my brain, did we do anything with the arts section last time? And
yeah, I'm thinking there's a couple different routes to go. I think the Arts Barn is one. I think one of the guys from Shoreline Arts Alliance is on our Economic Development Commission. We could work with him.
Okay.
So I think maybe when we meet, we could kind of identify somebody and just, I'd be happy to reach out to them if we identify a action item that we think they might be able to help with. But I think probably I take Danielle's advice. I think maybe the schools have a lot on their plate. We're probably not going to be able to get a lot through the schools, especially in the next couple of months.
Yeah.
But you're right. The Arts Alliance might be a really good possibility, because when I think of Madison Arts Barn, I think more of theater, of more music, dance, that kind of art. So, but they might be interested.
Yeah, they might be looking for a way to diversify who they're reaching as well.
Yeah.
So, okay, well, I will throw an email past, you and I will meet, and then I'll throw an email past them. There's also, and that would come under the community outreach, engagement, and education. Is one of the things was, supporting science, community-based science. And I think I've mentioned it before, but I'm involved in a study that's going on over in Guilford, which is a longitudinal salt marsh study, where they're taking data twice a year for the next 100 years is the plan, on the system in the marsh. And I'm doing it with one of the people that's working on it with me is Julie Ainsworth, and she's actually very interested in doing it with her middle school oceanology program. She says she's got a really good group of kids right now. So we were thinking about whether we could set up a transect either in the Garvin Marsh in the back of the surf club, or in the Fence Creek Marsh, to do the transect data. Maybe not necessarily do the bird surveys and everything that they're doing, but at least we could do vegetation squares and animal counts.
The kids love working with Julie.
Oh, yes.
My kids have always enjoyed doing activities with her.
Yeah, I love teaching with her. So I think that if we could, and it's something that, the more I'm out on the marshes recently, the more depressed I am about them. So I really think we need to do some really, have some youth start talking with the peoples in the communities about, what is a zombie marsh and what are we looking at here in Madison? And then, because the one in Guilford, you look out at it and it looks like a perfectly reasonable marsh, and then you go out and you start going, it's like, okay, there's almost no animals and it's all gone to alterniflora, but so you can see the little chunks of former peat where it used to be high marsh. There's like 10 square centimeters of it within a 1 meter square quadrat, and it's going to be mud flat in 20 years at the rate this is going. So just isn't important habitat, but not as efficient or useful for us as a healthy salt marsh. So, hi. Okay, you've all let me babble again. So anybody, I would love it if anybody would like to take on any of the sections as either a coordinator or a team lead. We already stuck Danielle with the composting. Put you in charge of the whole SMART section.
So you mean something from A through J?
So either something from A through J or from the actual, these are all the ones that are mostly within, they all fall mostly within one section of sustainable CT. These are all the ones we can specifically look at. But then as we start reaching out to other people within the community to help with some of the other sections, I'm not a good reacher outer. I am not a good, keep poking people for constant, so how are you doing? So I'm going to be looking for people in addition to Dave to help, keep people reined in and moving forward, including making me move forward. I'm just going to lay that out there.
So Heather, since I'm happy to help out. I'm not really sure what it is that you would like me to do, but if you give me something, a small thing to do, and once I get that done, I can do something else.
Okay. Well, how do you feel about maybe sitting in on this brainstorming meeting with Dave and me?
Sure.
Okay. Dave, does that make sense? I think because, okay. So we can coordinate between the three of us my schedule is fairly wide open, although I do actually have classes to teach with Julie next week. But if we can move for, set up a time, the three of us, probably the sooner the better, to do some brainstorming. Because it's like, okay, that is really only 3 months away.
So why don't we meet sometime this week? Should we make that decision right now about when to meet?
You two probably have the more packed schedules. So Dave, what works for you?
Thursday is probably best for me. I have something from 10 to 11 So either before or after that, or really anytime in the afternoon, I'm open.
I
Okay.
just have a meeting at 4 o'clock, so
You want to try early afternoon that day? Would like 1 o'clock work?
okay.
I would have
I was
to do
gonna say.
a little bit earlier because I have to pick up my son at 2.
Oh, okay. You want to do it 11?
Sure.
Okay. Excellent.
And then you guys can come to town hall?
I
And,
can do
we'll
that,
just-
yeah.
Yeah, we'll get a conference room.
Face-to-face, real meeting, yay.
If you're comfortable with that, we can do a Zoom
Yeah.
too, if anybody.
Yeah, no, I'm
I'm
comfortable.
vaccinated.
I'm vaccinated, yeah.
Okay, so am I, so we should be good then. All
Okay.
right, so why don't we just all put that on our individual calendar? So definitely plan on 11 o'clock on Thursday.
So that's Thursday, May 13th.
Yep.
That's it.
Okay. In, yay. Okay, unless somebody else has something to add to all of everything that I just babbled, I guess we'll move on to our update from our student representative. Elizabeth.
And Heather, if you want me to, let me know. I left the screen up just for that because of all the things, but want me to
Yeah.
stop sharing?
Yeah, we can stop sharing now. I could see everybody again. Hi.
Hi. So we only have, I think, 3 weeks left. So we only have time to do one more initiative, one short one, before
Okay.
you graduation.
Yeah.
So we're planning on doing a raffle next week to raise money for a place called Hope, so we can adopt a bird. So we'll get that done, and
Nice.
that's it. That's it.
That's it. Wow. Do you have have you had elections yet? Do you have incoming co-presidents or chairs or whatever they call you, people who are coordinating the for the next year?
We're
Fingers crossed.
not exactly sure yet.
Hmm. Okay. Well, that's something you should bring up with the unless you're all seniors, in which case I'm going to be very sad.
No, we have some juniors, but
Okay. Yeah, well, you should consider putting an election on your next agenda. Because I'd hate to see the club accidentally not continue next year. So, anything else? Anybody? Okay. I guess then we are done. Is true? Okay. I will take an emotion to adjourn. Unless anybody has anything else they want to talk about. All right. Anybody? Okay, Sophia, you're making the motion to adjourn? Okay. I got a second?
I'll second.
Okay. So all in favor, say aye or wave your hand. 1, 2, 3,
Aye.
4. Hey, okay, that was all of us. So it's unanimous. Okay, so Dave and Sophia, I'll see you
I'll
on
see you Thursday.
Thursday.
Thursday,
Yay.
11.
And everybody else, we will talk soon.
All
Okay.
right,
Bye,
thank you, everybody.
Have a
everyone.
good
Thank you.
night.